over a shared, crusty loaf of bread. The farmer notices you looking at a prominent, tattered scarecrow in the field. "Oh, you like old Barney?" he asks. "Does a damn good job scaring the vermin. Shame about the real fella. He was a funny one. Old Barney hiding out in our stables and lofts, just passing along. We liked him. Well, all except the sheriff. Barney never harmed nothing. I sometimes shared bread with him, just like you here. When he disappeared, leaving just the clothes we gave him, I figured I'd put him to use. Never got to know his proper name neither." Across the field, the wind in the corn whispers. Or is it the scarecrow? A woman waits while a man in a truck fills 2 of her buckets with scoops of whitish powder from a bin. She sees you staring. "Want to make some cash?" she calls. She takes you up the drive to her farmhouse, where her son and daughter are mixing something in a metal barrel. "Locust bait," she says. "Poison? The town bought enough for everyone, but we gotta mix it ourselves." She'll pay you to help. You use a broom handle to mix the poison with bran. The teens watch from the porch, faces frozen in distrustful scowls. Their mother pays you well, but later in the day you feel lightheaded, tingling pins and needles all over. You feel only a little better after you vomit. "She's getting married," the soldier tells you. The 2 of you observe the church from the dusty road, straining to hear the faint joy of the ceremony transpiring within. "I fought for 10 years to come home because she said she'd be here, waiting for me. And look, can you believe it? So what am I supposed to do? What does she expect? That I should throw myself from the nearest cliff? Walk into the ocean?" He snorts, sets off down the road. You wait a while. Eventually, the bride emerges from the church, alone, and looks out over the cornfield. When she sees you, and only you, her posture falls in a full-body sigh. She picks up the hem of her dress and goes back inside. The storm swept in just before sundown, heralded by a purple sky and electricity in the air. He sought shelter alongside a grizzled farmer. All he can do is pace, muttering to himself.
Can't just stay here.
You catch.
Gotta find her.
He looks up at you.
My daughter was out down the road.
He balls his fists.
God, fuck this.
He hauls open the door, shielding his face from the fierce dust. He runs out into the storm. The maelstrom has turned the world a murky red. The farmer makes it a fair distance, but you see him stumble. A whirlwind of dust forms, coalescing into a great dark shape which looms over him. The storm swallows your warning. The dust thing engulfs the man in its body. The storm whips faster, cutting off your view. You don't manage any sleep. The storm settles in the early hours. You find the farmer laid out in the street, his corpse a shriveled mass. He has one arm stretched out in front of him, as if to crawl. The Twisters touch down in a cornfield, fence posts flying in its wake. A huge black stallion charges toward the tornado. On its back, a cowboy whips his lasso through the churning air, nearly matching the Twister's speed. His wild laughter carries on the wind.
God damn it, Bill!
Another man hollers, clapping his hands to his hat to keep it from flying off.
Quit being a damn fool!
The man on the horse turns toward him and flashes a beatific grin before digging his heels harder into the horse's flanks. His Stetson goes flying, caught by a gust. He doesn't seem to notice. He barks a single yee-haw as he stands in the stirrups, leaning into the whirlwind. In a moment, man and beast are enveloped in the storm. All you can hear is Bill's wild laughter. The barn and silo have seen better days. One big storm might bring the whole structure down. A man hollers,
Ken? Ken? I know you're here, boy.
He sees you and lopes across the field toward you.
You seen a boy around? About 14?
He sighs.
My boy is missing. I haven't seen him since last night.
He swallows.
He ain't the type to run off, neither. Can you spare a minute to help look? I'm worried sick.
You climb the ladder and make your way across the roof. A trail of empty beer bottles leads you past a discarded shirt and to the base of the silo. You climb up. There's a hole in the silo roof, a rupture where rotten wood gave way under something large. You maneuver your way along the edge, keeping your weight off the rotted panels. You poke your head inside. He's there, half submerged in the grain. He's been dead for half a day at least. The man's waiting at the bottom of the barn ladder.
Anything?
There's a spark of hope in his eyes. He chokes back a sob.
I told him not to go up there. I told him.
He looks up at the tower, then turns to you, tears tracking down his grimy cheeks.
Why didn't he listen?
Buen día, friend. Since we last met, I continue to make las curaciones and to hobo las brujas so that they cannot do harm. Las brujas work with the will of el diablo. Wherever I journey, I seek them out and stop them. I also search to find an apprenticed curandera of my own. But now, do you have a story about hope? About happiness and the goodness in the world? Mi corazón, that was a good story about family. When una bruja completes her pact with el diablo, she forsakes la familia that give her life. It breaks una familia to lose a daughter to the way of las brujas. Una curandera strengthens her community. Y las brujas, they become jealous. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. What a good story. Esperanza. It is the most important, I think. It is not so sure. As I go on my travels, I find there is not as many places for una curandera. Ways of la curación are being forgotten. That the ways of las brujas will not fade the same way. But now, do you have a story about hope? About happiness and the goodness in the world? Mi corazón, that was a good story. In the past, mis niñas, they did not have the gift for las curaciones. But still, I taught them a little so that they could care for their families. My youngest, she was so eager to learn, but las brujas' curse keep her from the simplest remedies. Pobrecita de mi niña. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. think we share a sense of humor. My choice? I did not choose to become a healer. It was revealed I had el talento para la curación. I choose to honor el talento and learn how to be a good healer. Las brujas, they could have done good with el talento. Pero no, they chose to do evil. Do you have any frightening stories? Have you seen the work of Las Brujas on your travels? What a miserable story. Tristeza. It needs to have a point. Death? I do not abide de destrucción de las brujas. It is not natural. Death is part of la vida. But I will fight against those who try to bring it before it is time. Dios, take las brujas. Ay, estoy cansada. Very tired. Always I am alert for a woman with the talent of la curación. And una bruja intent on destruction. It is a hard life. So much responsibilidad. It wears on an old woman. The journey take me this way next. Where will you go? I hope we will meet again. There is more I would like to tell you about the life of La Curandera.
Beside this lonely campfire, a familiar, magnificent black horse rears at your presence. A familiar old Stetson-hatted cowboy calms him. "Easy, boy," Bill says. He turns his attention to you. "Sorry, he startles around strangers. I guess he's like me. You want to give him an apple?" The horse snorts as you approach. "Easy, easy," Bill says again, his voice low and soothing. The horse eyes you warily, but lowers its head to your palm and begins to eat. The cowboy nods as he lifts a tin pot from the flames. "You want a cup of coffee, stranger?" Don't get company much, but I try to be hospitable. West's changed. Folks still need each other. A rattlesnake unwinds from his neck and slithers down his arm. Oh, don't worry, he won't bite. There's no animal I can't tame. People, though. He trails off, stares into the fire. The lightning starts in the next valley over. Then the wind picks up. The long grass hisses, and suddenly it's raining so hard you can barely breathe without a hand over your mouth. The lightning momentarily illuminates a farmhouse on the opposite hilltop, the only one for miles. Much closer, though, is the silhouette of a dilapidated barn. It's mostly dry here. Perhaps that's why every corner of the barn has a soaked, silent traveler crouching in it. 15 or 20 of them, all staring in your direction, all blinking, all curiously dressed in the same brown coat. One silently points you to a spot of your own. They scurry back and forth across the floor of the barn all night long, whispering to one another. When you wake, it's late, and every single one of them is gone, along with some of your cash.
It was 3 days ride from Tulsa en route to Santa Fe. And there beneath the blazing sun, my horse began to sway.
The cookhouse is in disarray. Dirty plates and scorched pots scattered outside the tent. A young woman frantically scrubs, muttering. She blanches in panic as you approach, but forces a smile. She shakes off the suds. Her hands and arms are marked with knife nicks and narrow burns.
Don't mind the mess. You look hungry. Take a seat. I'll work you up a little something.
As you sit, her fire-tanned face cracks into a smile of relief. She steps into the tent, and there's the discordant clanking and hissing of a cook at work. She emerges with a plate, a blackened sludge of beans and sweaty gray meat.
Eat.
She watches intently as you force down the first mouthful. Suddenly, her eyes widen.
I forgot your drink. Let me...
But the fire flares inside the tent.
No!
She gasps, staggering inside. The fire blazes again, and the woman screams. The heat stings as you enter. The tent's a jumble of empty cans, and there's the stink of rotting vegetables and burning meat. Your host is gone. A dark shape squats at the heart of the cook fire. It's time to leave.
Don't come to claim me, for I had my time.
Little remains of the Alamo, just a chapel and some barracks. The inside of the chapel seems off, like a space that is both ruin and restored relic, unsure if it should crumble or sparkle. The rumbling of cars outside is undeterred by the shaky adobe walls. You come across a well, a squat square made of stone, hidden beneath a large, crooked oak tree. And on it sits a dejected man, eyes downcast, face hidden by a broad-brimmed hat, and clothes so thickly coated with dust that you can't make out their style or color. He looks up at you, and you get a better look at his face. Sun-beaten, several days unshaven, and body. Though he smells strongly of black powder, a single sharp hole punctures his torso. From there, blood oozes down and smoke wafts up. No. It's too late for me. He bats your hand away. His is clammy and cold, even in the hot, dry air. It's a long time before he musters the strength to say anything more. I marched out here following some rich man from New Orleans. 2 weeks trapped in this damn fort. Then it was just so sudden. Not even an hour. He seems suddenly distressed. Friend, how long has it been? Why am I still here? But your response doesn't come before he's collapsed into the ground.
Hola, hola. Welcome. Sit if you like. The road is hard, and it's good to see a familiar face. I thought to find an ease of mind in the last pueblo I visited. But her husband, he turned me away. He called me bruja, said his daughter will become un doctora, and my ways unwelcome. So I leave, and I do not see mi familia. My familia used to be so united, with respect for las curaciones, las curanderas. The times change quickly. But tell me, what is the most frightening thing you have seen on your travels? What a good story. Like what mi hermano used to tell me as a girl. Am I trapped? La curación must be adapted to each person, to their faith, age, what ails them, and so also change with the times. La curación has a place in the future. It's not stuck in the past. I am trapped not by the changing times, but by the presumption of the people. Do you have any frightening stories? Have you seen the work of Las Brujas on your travels? Oh, wow. What a story. Mira mis manos. They are shaking. Young ones. Always they want to travel the world. They forget that their spirit must travel too, not just the body. Very few youth now go on the journey. Spiritu. And they are weaker for it. But tell me, what is the most frightening thing you have seen on your travels? What a good story. Like what mi hermano used to tell me as a girl. My autoridad used to be that una curandera would command great respect from people wherever she would go. Even a plain old woman would be provided with a bed, food, respeto. Una curandera gives la curación without expecting payment. But now, I find myself asking, no me gusta. Oh, please, tell me a story sobre la esperanza and all the good in this world. What a good story. Esperanza. It is the most important, I think. And love. People come to me now only because they are afraid of losing those they love. They are afraid of my healing. But I am their last resort. La curación. It is weaker because of their fear. But I give it out of love. Do you have any frightening stories? Have you seen the work of Las Brujas on your travels? No, Lucy. These kind of things sound awful to me. Luck. The community of my village used to say they were lucky to have a curandera. Now, I hope fate bring me to cualquiera that needs healing here on the road. El sol has risen. I am sorry, but I must be on my way. I am sad we do not talk more. I feel muy solitaria on the road sometimes. Next, I'm traveling to this place. If you ever go there, look for me. I wish to tell you more about what it's like to be la última curandera de mi familia.
There are people shouting and laughing inside this restaurant, and a man sitting alone on the porch like a statue. When you sit beside him, he gives you a weak grin. Look at us. Tired? I get so tired. Can't even celebrate a job done. WPA, planting trees. He tells you about the hours he spends digging holes in the sun. Collapse has been hard on folks, but I didn't have a job before all this. Now I'm doing good. Kind of glad things went to shit. He hesitates. Is that wrong, do you think? Yeah, but I have money now. Watch this. He digs some change out of his pocket and tosses it in your lap. I can do that. And I can do it again. A few more pennies. I'm rich as hell now. I can do whatever I want. He barks out an uneasy laugh as if he's surprised at his own joke. This church's doors stand open. You wander in to ask for a glass of water. There's no preacher, only a disheveled music teacher and a class of young men picking out bawdy songs on the organ. The group can't hear you over an improvised erotic limerick shouted over an equally indelicate tune. The verses escalate in depravity until the music finally swells and comes to the grand finale. The song slows to a stop as each pair of eyes turns to meet yours. The teacher stands. "Is there a problem?" A couple of boys go to fetch you a glass. The teacher turns to you. "Do you enjoy being bad?" he asks. "We're terrible. Once a month." Smiling, the teacher invites you to a seat in the pews. A boy returns with water and cookies, and as you eat, the group sings a song about genitalia in perfect three-part harmony. "Wonderful!" the teacher cries. "Again!"
Well, I'm gonna scroll my name on the barrels of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for the tally of my worth, I won't need much to find that can be found. Trains run out of track.
He sings as he works, his voice warm and soft as the late afternoon sun. The air's sweet with the tang of recently cut sugarcane. There's a practiced, almost soothing precision to the way he works. He looks up and nods hello. "Making molasses," he says to your unasked question. "I sell the blackstripe in town. Farmers use it for feed. Bitter as hell." He grins. "I don't notice it no more. I've been doing this a while. I keep back a few bottles to share. I don't charge neither. Folks around here need what they can get. Makes a mean loaf of bread." He nods at the barrels. "I'm about done filtering. Got to boil it next. Lend a hand?" You help him haul the barrels over to the metal boiler. You pour in the juice and set the fire. It's hot work. He fetches water and dark bread, and you share the small meal and a smile. It's good to find another who takes joy in honest labor.
A vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale.
We need a sixth.
She told you, beckoning from the steps of a great dark mansion. And just like that, you found yourself sitting with strangers around a velvet-draped table. Her voice is reedy and high, modulated by the tight collar of her Victorian dress.
Join hands, everyone.
Your host keeps her eyes closed as she beseeches the spirits of the dead. But everyone else around the table lets one lingering, awkward glance bounce around between them. You sense they're just about done humoring her when it happens. A deep, nasty thump beneath the table. The whole table starts to shake, threatening to lift right off the ground. And then, the staid candle flames start flickering like mad, casting ghastly shadows on the walls. And then, a viciously cold wind cuts through the parlor like sharpened ice. The damned candles are dancing in midair around you now, singeing a hair here and there off the coiffed heads of these well-heeled guests. You notice your host across the table has her eyes open wider than they should go. A rivulet of blood dripping from her nose. When you come to your senses, sunrise has begun to creep in. The parlor is empty but for you and the woman in the old-fashioned dress, who slumped dejectedly over the table.
He didn't show up. All that sound and fury, and no sign of his spirit.
Ain't gonna want for nothing when you get that soul sucker blues.
Lenny's Antiques has a heady smell. Polish, maybe, or incense. Sunlight doesn't penetrate the blacked-out windows. The place is crammed with furniture and curios. The woman behind the counter beckons you over.
I know the look of you. I know what you're here for.
She sets a tray on the counter. On it sits a hodgepodge of stitched leather pouches of various shapes and sizes. Some have neck or wrist straps looped through them. She waves a hand across the display.
Good luck charms. I don't want your money. You got something better.
She licks her lips, holds out a flat palm. Her knife is fast. She slices a thin line across your palm, then snatches your hand and squeezes. She catches the welling blood in a murky glass vial. Your vision flickers, and as you blink, the place lightens. Sunlight streams through the windows. You are alone. As you reach the door, a man calls after you.
Is this yours?
His name badge reads Lenny. He's holding up a leather pouch by its strap. You take it and hurry out of the shop.
Going down to the river, gonna cleanse my soul.
Electric lamps stipple the cotton field before you with an orange light, moving like a group of lethargic fireflies. From the field, the voices of the workers reach you in a soulful, united song. You're gently lulled to sleep as the song floats over you. And oh, Lordy, pick a bale of cotton, and oh, Lordy, pick a bale a day. You're pulled out of your slumber by a woman's pained scream and a collection of shouts rising from the field. The woman's screams taper off, soon replaced by the raw cries of an infant. Applause briefly fills the night, eventually fading back into song. Oh, Lordy, you wake up to the gentle crescendo of the worker's song, unsure if it ever ceased at all.
When they try to throw a wall, we gon' tear it down.
His smile lights up the room, or rather the cab of the locomotive. Folks gather round as he holds the pull cord. He's a showman through and through. You'll want to cover your ears now for this next part. Sure doesn't help much. Engineer pulls that chain and the whistle blasts inside your skull. He just smiles through it all. Man must be half deaf. A round of applause erupts from the small crowd. He passes out bubble gum to the shell-shocked kids, half of them in awe, half in tears. Remember now who gets you there on the advertised. Casey Jones. Everyone's all talk as they head back to their seats. That engineer sure is handsome. Gosh, and that whistle sounded just like a whippoorwill, didn't it? Ain't this the way to travel? No fence, gate, or sign marks the entrance to the cemetery. Just a moment ago, you weren't surrounded by graves, and now you are. How long have you been stepping on dead folks, fully unaware? A wood board, bleached white. Unknown. The word was painted on black by a steady hand, each letter signed with a flourish. Whoever made this memorial had more compassion than money. You're already quiet, so maybe it's silly, but you instill that silence with intent. What else could someone do? A sparrow calls. Seems birds don't have much respect for the dead. You notice the grave marker isn't dug into the ground, just propped up on a tree. Looks nicer now, but unmoored as these markers are, this grave in front of this tree, does this memorial even belong to it? You emerge from the underbrush and find yourself at the edge of a field. A farmhouse sits at the other end. Close by, large family is tending to the plants together. They pause and regard you, almost nervously. "Hello there?" the grandmother asks. The family is almost too nice to you. When you ask for water, they don't even let you walk to the pump by the house. A child runs back to the shed for a folding chair, and they serve you lemonade in a glass among the lettuce heads. Halfway through your glass, you notice someone moving furtively down by the house. The cuffs of his white shirt are stained red. The father sees your look and shifts to block your view. His eyes are bright, and his teeth are bared in something like worry. "How do you like your lemonade?" His wife arrives with a bag full of sandwiches for you, and the whole family ushers you back into the woods, waving, wishing you well. You take one look back over your shoulder. The man by the wall is gone.
I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my
He's small for his age. Boy of 13 or so, sitting on an upturned bucket by the side of a tiny wedge of farmland. The dog, as though by contrast, is massive, an enormous yellow-brown mutt. He's called Rover, the boy explains.
Pa says he can't come with us. West.
You notice the Model A truck on the yard, piled high with furnishings and trunks and bags and knots of rope to tie it all together. And upon all that, too, yet more dust and grit.
Pa says it has to be better.
With one toe tip, he scratches a parabola on the dead, dry ground.
Pa says we can't afford to feed Rover no more.
You can't tell where the blonde of the dog's coat ends and the omnipresent dust begins. Same goes for the boy's hair.
Will you take him?
Rover follows you eagerly after you feed him the tiniest sliver of jerky. But a few hours later, he snaps to attention, as though hearing some distant noise your ears can't catch. The last you see of him are the markings left by his dirty pelt on the leaves of the underbrush.
I take a look at you and figure we're heading to the same place. You've been walking a long time, same as me, trying to find where you fit. You ever wonder if that place don't exist? No shame in it, I do. Plenty of time I wonder if I'll just walk forever. You start to wonder, how did I get here? When you're alone, all you have is all this time. Time to trace the lines back to where things started. But anyway, you know any good true tragedies? I feel like one of those tonight. Body and soul. Change. When I was a young man, it took a while for me to accept that all things change. When I did, I leaned into it hard. Sometimes you need to salt the earth to get where you need to go. But tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen out there so far? Now that's a story to keep a man on the edge of his seat. No one would say my father was free. Sometimes I think about whether my father would find my life all that different from his. So, tell me a sad story. Sad and true, okay? I hear you. There's some sadness out there. Things get took from you. You realize that things get took from you. You ain't never owned them in the first place. That's a dark place. But anyway, you know any good true tragedies? I feel like one of those tonight. That's a tall one. Must be nice to have a home, place to call your own. Under Cropline, I didn't really own shit, if you excuse my language. You buy things to pay off at the end of the season. Soon you realize even your own bed ain't a guarantee. You got any good happy stories where things work out for someone, maybe? That was a good one. Wish I could have your stories around when I'm in a dark place, you know? Well, as far as love stories, I mostly love work. Working the land felt natural. It felt good. It was the work itself, the labor, the sweat, and knowing that I could point at it and say, that's mine. Here's the sun. I got to get going. My route goes up this way, but I sure did enjoy talking to you. It's probably the kind of story you've heard a million times. Down on your luck, need work, take whatever you can get. How about you? Does my life sound familiar?
I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for the tally of my worth,
A sign in town says a farmer is hiring for the sugarcane harvest. A bag-eyed man drives you and 10 hungry strangers out into the cane, where he leaves you. Everyone gets a hatchet, but no instruction. The foreman is missing for some reason. Nobody is sure what to do. A young man in a red jacket stuffs all the hatchets in his pack. "This is stupid," he says. "I'm leaving. You can get $5 for a nice axe like this." He marches off into the cane and others follow. "Don't!" a young woman shouts after them. "It's not right." The thief left some hatchets behind, so you and the 3 chumps left start chopping cane. It's brutal work. None of you know what you're doing. "Keep going," the girl calls. Her hands are bleeding, and her face is bright with sweat. Soon, her cane is piled high. Sometime after noon, the truck rolls up with a boozy foreman riding shotgun. "Good work," he croaks. The girl wipes her blood-pinked hands on her apron to take her pay, but doesn't notice the crumpled body in the back of the truck, or the hatchets heaped beside it.
of this land, and by
First tree in a mile, and it's a stout myrtle with bald branches. No relief from the sun out here. Leaves would help. Someone hadn't replaced them all with dusty glass bottles. You cool down in the shade. The breeze blows through the bottles, making a series of heavy, hollow sounds. You think about wind chimes and the smell of fresh pies on windowsills. The dense sound of many conversations cuts your nap short. There's no one around. Not until you look up at the bottles. They're filled with bright blue orbs, and words echo from them. None seem to notice your presence.
Can't get enough. Porcelain, chrome, the rusty ones. Gotta turn those sleek faucets. Ever find me in a hardware store, I'm gonna haunt it till the cows come home.
Laughter rumbles inside neighboring bottles.
I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig in my
You find yourself in a poker game on the 3rd floor of the Weinkauf Hotel. Sometimes these things just happen. The man with the burned face to your left, he never gave his name, growls at the smiling man seated on your right.
You ain't got the stomach. I killed men for lessons in that pot.
Smiler plays on and takes the hand. The burned man bares his teeth. This hand comes down to the burned man and Smiler.
Walk away, boy.
Says the burned man. Smiler drops his grin.
I ain't your boy, Roy.
Roy's eye twitches. Smiler outplays Roy again, and a new hand comes around. You've got an okay hand. Not a world beater, but not nothing. You play your hand well and push Smiler into folding. You scrape a good number of chips into your pile. Roy's preoccupied and has to be nudged into dealing. You finally hit a decent hand. Roy is still staring at Smiler.
What'd you say your name was? I didn't, but it's Jackson.
Jackson, repeats Roy.
I knew a Jackson once.
There's a fierce look in Roy's eye. You played it just right. You take the hand and the lion's share of the chips on the table. Smiler cusses. Roy cashes out and slips away. You play a few more rounds, but that hand practically sewed up the game. As you leave the hotel, you smell smoke. You cross the street and look up. Flames have engulfed the 3rd floor, where you played the game. The fire spreads hungrily. People are leaning out of windows on the floors above, but you can't see any way to help.
Yeah, this will be my tale. My veil